welcome lunch. I wanted to take the opportunity to welcome you, AWT members, so many manufacturing people in the room. It's great to see community and educational partners and our political leaders. My name is Teresa. I'm the Executive Director of AWT, and I think I've met many of you, but if I hadn't, I'd love to have the opportunity to meet. I've been in this position since January, and it has been a whirlwind, so I appreciate the opportunity to come up and speak to you. The AWT Foundation would like to thank the Mentor Public Schools for allowing us the use of the paradigm. At this time, I would like to ask Bill Porter up to say a few words from Mentor Schools.
Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to Mentor Schools, and specifically our Paradigm building, which I think in the spirit captures the innovation and collaboration that AWT values. There are a lot of familiar faces in the room, a lot of very supportive faces in the room, and we sure appreciate that. We are excited to host AWT Annual Meeting and appreciate seeing so many partners of Mentor Schools in the crowd. In collaboration with our partners, we are able to provide students with meaningful, work-based learning experiences that in many cases culminate with direct employment. Over the past few years, we've been able to strengthen our partnership with AWT and have been able to establish our Advanced Manufacturing Pre-Apprenticeship Program, which aligns with the AWT apprenticeship. We look forward to continuing to grow our partnership and are excited about the Ohio Innovative Workforce Incentive Grant that was received by Mentor Schools and will allow us to contribute over $292,000 in equipment and material that will be used in the new AWT Training Center. A special thanks has to go out to Roger Sustar, who's been an extraordinary advocate for the school-business relationships and whose work has had such a positive impact in Lake County and our entire region. Again, welcome, and please make yourselves at home while you're here, and have a good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. On behalf of the AWT Board of Directors and our members, I'm pleased to welcome you to the AWT Foundation's 2022 Annual Meeting. It's an exciting time for manufacturing. As we continue to grow and move forward, we remain focused on our mission to promote rewarding careers in manufacturing for our region. Never before have federal, state, and local resources been so incredibly aligned to support the manufacturing industry in Northeast Ohio, and we thank our political leadership for their support. With the help of our strategic partners, the AWT Foundation has placed more than 1,000 students into manufacturing careers. In local communities, we have exposed 300 5th and 6th grade students to manufacturing. We've facilitated tours of manufacturing facilities for 1,200 students, parents, and their teachers. In collaboration with the Willoughby Western Lake County, Mentor, and Eastern Lake County Chambers, the Think Manufacturing Expo still went on last year. With restrictions from COVID, had to do a last-minute change of venue and ended up at Mentor Paradigm. And it's these kind of partnerships that really help us continue to move forward. Working with Lakeland, AWT has been instrumental in establishing access to transportation for manufacturing employees. By 2023, we will have trained 288 apprentices in the Northeast Ohio region. This past year was an incredible year for AWT. By exposing young people to manufacturing early, we continue to strengthen the future of manufacturing in our area. In 2021, AWT secured a number of different funding sources from various, a number of different funding resources from different areas to fund our initiatives. We received $320,000 in STEM money to help bolster the education of programming, engineering design, and problem-solving skills in our youth. The hope with that is that we will end up encouraging these children as they move forward through their high school experience and into their careers to look at manufacturing as a solid option. We were awarded a $3,500 grant from International Papers Madison Mill that supports the Robobots competition. There was a grant, 2022 capital funding that goes in support of the construction of the AWT Workforce Transformation Center. We have received a $250,000 industry sector partnership grant to help build that collaboration between education, business, and community stakeholders in bolstering our workforce. As AWT grows and evolves, our organization's mission remains the same, promoting rewarding careers in manufacturing. Today, American manufacturing is more innovative, exciting, and stronger than ever. AWT was established to show the future generation of innovators and their parents the rewarding careers and the opportunities that are available. AWT is fortunate to have a dedicated, hands-on board of directors who are passionate about promoting manufacturing to the next generation. We would like to welcome two individuals to our AWT Foundation Board of Directors, Rosmal Heredia and Al Adams. You could wait for everybody. It really has been, this first couple months has been amazing in connecting with so many people, but especially our board of directors. They're all very involved and very invested in making sure that we continue to move that initiative forward. 2022 marks the 20th anniversary of the beginning of this journey. In early 2002, Roger gathered a small group of manufacturers to discuss topics of interest and challenges they faced. The goal was to come together to help each other. Finding skilled workers was quickly identified as the main issue. Promoting rewarding careers in manufacturing became the core mission of the organization. And in 2012, AWT Foundation became a nonprofit. Since then, the AWT Foundation has grown and now has over 500 manufacturing, educational, and community members. I'm pleased to introduce Roger Sustar, the founder of the Alliance for Working Together, to share with you.
Wow. Thanks for all the accolades. It's much, much, much appreciated. But really the thanks is to all of you for all that you've done all these years. I get a little choked up because Senator Yuko, Representative Yuko messed me up by bringing in a proclamation from my wife. So I'm still remembering her. All I can say is from that little breakfast get-together that we did at yours truly, and all the little things that we've done to get better, all I can say to each and every one of you is thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the things you've done, each and every one of you. Some have been with us since the very beginning, and some of are new, and it's just amazing that we've done this. It's still hard for me to even believe. Last night I had the opportunity with Teresa and my daughter Allison to walk in the building and see some of the things that are going on. It's holy schmolies. It's just unreal. But we're very, very fortunate. I don't want to talk too much because we have a lot to go over, and I do want to give due time to the two state senators that have been really wonderful to helping us in everything that we do, and all of you guys for the Ohio legislature and all the foundations. I can't believe it. So with that, I'll leave it. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Really, I sincerely mean that. Every one of you. If each of the board members would just kind of stand so we could acknowledge all of you, please. There you go. Yeah. That's really great because each one of them brings something that we've never had before. Especially for me, because I'm not very good with anything more than 4-letter words, and most of you know that. I know. I know, that's the unfortunate part, Jerry. So with that, Commissioner Hammercheck, John, there we go, come on up.
And we're not going to talk about learning sign language, right? Roger, no sign language today? Inside baseball joke. Welcome. Roger, from the founding of AWT, you set a standard. Meeting people where they are. That's important. Everybody has something to contribute. You just have to find it. Sometimes people have solutions and they don't even know that they have it. That's something that Roger and this group is very good at. Meeting people where they are. That's a key. One of the things that has really impressed me about it as I've been following the progress with AWT, this new facility, it's an all-in approach. I come at things from a systems integration approach. Hey, how can we make things work? Applied science. Aspirational is nice, achievable, and deliverables, co-benefits. How can you really have some deliverables that are tangible and actually are sustainable? Those are words that in some parts of society people cringe, others say, yeehaw. I say take back the English language. These are all good words. We're all allowed to use them. When we talk about equity, inclusion, all of these words that some people say yay to, others say no to, well, you know what? Again, it's all about meeting people where they are. And that's something that this group is doing with exception. Government, sometimes people think government's the solution to everything. Other times, keep government out of the way. It's finding that balance. And that's, again, one of the things that AWT exemplifies is balance. Let's see, where's my call? There, Jerry. I can remember a time when we were at a table having a spirited discussion how to solve a problem, and it struck me. Sales and marketing, engineering and manufacturing, all of a sudden, hey, that problem got solved, and Ron Young was saying, like, what the heck just happened? It's okay, you're the recruiter. You can fill in behind us, we got this. But those are the things, when you realize where you fit into a situation, then you know how you can contribute. And sometimes that's where it's so important. To have a mentor, to have talent such as the members of this board who can show people where you can fit in, where you can be aspirational and you can achieve great things. And for that, I say thank you, and with that, I turn the floor back to you, sir.
Kenny, Yuko, my old Slovenian buddy from Yuko, Ohio.
Growing up in Yuko, Ohio, my father was working at Lincoln Electric, something he had done since he was about in 8th grade. He dropped out of school, being a product of the Depression, and he understood firsthand the importance of manufacturing. He lectured us all the time. You have to get on board, you have to get involved, you have to get yourself hired, you have to get yourself that loyalty pin. He retired after 44 years. He understood a thing or two about loyalty. But more importantly was what he taught myself, my brother, my sisters, what he taught his co-workers, what the message was that, you know what, without manufacturing, what have we got? Now they understood the importance of it because it was post-World War II. And a lot of them at the time understood the importance of what manufacturing did. Helped us become the powerhouse that we were. It wasn't just the fact that all my neighbors back in the 1950s got up every morning and unfurled that flag and put it on their house. Often gave it a salute before they went to work in the morning. And in the evening, unfurled that flag after giving a salute, putting it inside the living room walls of our little bungalow. But they went to work every single day. The work ethic was strong. The loyalty was tremendous. Manufacturing rewarded them. Dearly, Lincoln Electric was known for their bonuses, and it was great. But it was what it brought to the entire community. Because we had strong businesses, we had strong schools. Because we had strong schools, we had strong communities. Because we had strong communities, it contributed to the county, it contributed to the state. And that's what it's all about. So that I applaud you for this, Roger, because this is your vision, and it was one that's unselfish. It's one that doesn't take into account what he can do, but more importantly, when it counts what all of us can do. And that's the importance of this. You know, I've got the honor of serving here with two wonderful senators, Senator Dolan, Senator Cirino, two outstanding legislators. We all come from different backgrounds. We come from different neighborhoods, basically. But you know, when it comes down, push comes to shove, and we did it last week with passing an important piece of legislation, make sure we get votes on time for those serving our country. We put our heads together and we cast the right votes, didn't we? And that's what it's all about. So when you work together, whether you're in the Ohio General Assembly, the Ohio Senate, or whether you're here in Lake County working with all your other manufacturing friends, working together is the answer. Success is the result. If I may for 1 second, I know I was told I had 1 to 3 minutes, and I can't tell a politician that. I'm here to tell you that's impossible. But I am being term limited. So these 2 gentlemen are going to be with you. I will not be at the end of the year. And I just want to thank all of you for your kindness. You have accepted me into your homes, your businesses, your communities. You've been most kind. I absolutely appreciate everything that you show me, the respect you show me in our office. We've worked together on a lot of projects, and I'm humbled and honored that I was given this opportunity for the last 8 years, and I want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you, and God bless. And before I go, to Roger and Teresa, if I may present this on behalf of myself before I go, these 2 other sons will be here for a long time, hopefully, and we'll continue to be here for you. I'm leaving. Thank you, God. God bless. Thank you.
So now we got videos coming from Congressman Joyce and Lieutenant Governor Husted. You want to, I don't know, who's rolling? Thanks, guys.
Hello, everyone. Congressman Dave Joyce here. I'm sorry I couldn't join you in person for the Alliance for Working Together's annual meeting. I'm already looking forward to being there next year. Throughout my time serving as your representative in Congress, I've had the privilege of attending all sorts of events throughout Northeast Ohio, but one of my all-time favorites is AWT's RoboBots competition. You all do such great work giving the students a front row seat to learn what opportunities in today's manufacturing industry really look like. As a member of the Buy American Caucus in the U.S. House of Representatives, protecting manufacturers like yourselves and the jobs you provide in our community has always been one of my top priorities. Unfortunately, it's estimated that of the nearly 3.5 million manufacturing jobs that will be needed over the next decade, approximately 2 million are expected to go unfilled. Initiatives like AWT can help us address this gap by showing students, parents, educators, and others what career paths in manufacturing have to offer and giving students the opportunity to gain the skills and experience to help them compete for the jobs in the industry. We need to implement similar programs nationwide that take proactive steps to close the skills gap and help the next generation of Americans enter the workforce. When you show kids the possibility of what their futures can be, there's no stopping them. That's why in Congress, I fight for career and technical education programs and initiatives like AWT that do just that. I'm proud to stand by these critical programs that help shape the futures of millions of students, and will continue to do everything I can here in Washington to ensure the next generation is prepared for the job opportunities that the 21st century workforce has to offer them, both in Ohio and across the country. Again, thank you for all that you do in our community. God bless and stay well.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Governor John Husted, and welcome to the Alliance for Working Together's annual meeting. I wanted to share with you some thoughts today about the 3 areas I think that we all need to focus on. That's entrepreneurship, it's recruiting new businesses to Ohio, and it's talent. Let me start with entrepreneurship. We have made it the goal, since Governor DeWine and I became governor and lieutenant governor, to make Ohio the most innovative entrepreneurial state in the Midwest. We've done this in many ways, trying to expand access to intellectual property through the Ohio IP Promise, providing more incentives for the creation of venture capital and deployment of that venture capital throughout the state of Ohio, and just generally making it a more entrepreneurial-friendly state. We've seen a lot of great success at this in a lot of small businesses across your region and the state. And we really believe this is so important because locally grown businesses, in the end, are the best ones, because what they do is they make sure that we have business leaders who are community-minded, who are creating jobs in the local community, and they're more likely to reinvest in those communities. Additionally, In the recruitment of new businesses, Ohio has a great opportunity. We've seen more than 30 businesses relocate from the coast to Ohio in the last few years, making new investment. We have a wonderful opportunity as the world looks to reshore opportunities domestically here in the United States to make the things that we need to grow our economy right here in the Midwest, and we think we're winning a disproportionate share of those in Ohio. Certainly, the big announcement with Intel was an incredibly important part of that. What Pat Gelsinger, the CEO of Intel, said to us, that he wants to create the Silicon Heartland here in Ohio and build the largest, most advanced semiconductor production facility in the world. We believe that can happen, and we believe the ripple effects will positively flow throughout Ohio, with more than 140 suppliers already in Ohio, some of them in your region. We also know that 25 to 30 new companies will come to Ohio that will generate many, many more jobs on top of the ones that Intel will be creating themselves, and that those will have to be located across our state. And we believe that this is a wonderful opportunity to make Ohio a tech hub, the tech hub of the Midwest, as we lead in high-tech manufacturing. But for us to capitalize on these two, for us to have entrepreneurs that flourish here, for us to recruit new businesses that grow and create future generations of jobs, we have to have the talent. We have to do a great job at making sure more students are graduating high school, career or college ready, that we're helping them earn certificates either as students or adults through programs like Tech Cred and IMAP, that more students are earning the right kind of in-demand skills through our community colleges, and that we are not only recruiting talent to our colleges and universities, but retaining that talent once they graduate, especially in the STEM fields. If we do that, if we help more Ohioans with these opportunities, then we will see a rising tide that lifts all boats. But we really need to focus on the talent aspect. The Midwest struggles from demographics. America struggles from demographics. As we see the age group from 19 to 60 continue to shrink in our country, that's the working age workforce. We cannot leave anybody behind. We have to help everybody, from second chance employment to recovery employment to helping more students earn the in-demand skills that they need before they graduate high school, so that we have the talent that businesses need to locate here and to flourish here. That's the collective goal that we all have: helping entrepreneurs, recruiting new businesses, and developing future talent. And Governor DeWine and I really look forward to being continued partners with Jobs Ohio and the rest of Team Ohio to make sure that we do this for this generation of Ohioans and for the future. Thank you.
Okay, that's it. We got those videos from all those people. That's wonderful. Very nice. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor John Husted. My wife still thinks he isn't old enough to have any children. He's got 25 or 30 year old? 25? I think so. Anyways, with this, I'd like to introduce Jamie Callender, our Ohio State representative. Jamie has been absolute kingpin for us, helping us get our first round of funding from the state. After we had foundation people that told us we were going to get money, which I still can't believe. Thank you.
Everybody makes a mistake.
I was going to ask Chris if we could get more money from the foundation if I put in more money, and he says I will take your money. So thank you, Chris. With that, Ohio State Representative Jamie Callender. Jamie, come on up.
Stay on script, right? Thank you, Roger. And what great remarks, and to speak after, all kinds of folks before our illustrious state senator is really kind of makes you nervous. But I have two tasks. One, something I want to say, and then I introduce someone. We've heard a lot about bringing in new businesses and entrepreneurs. And those things certainly get headlines, and they're certainly important. But we can't forget that in the 1940s and 50s, even into the 60s and early 70s, Lake County was a manufacturing hub. A lot of those businesses have left. I remember being in this building in high school years ago as friends were moving away because the company they worked for, the factory they worked for, shuttered or downsized. So as we're building back, and I know AWT is a big part of that, where'd you get that picture? Wow. Yeah, give that one to the police when they're looking for me. But it's important, sorry, I got distracted when I saw it in my peripheral vision. It's important that we work to support those manufacturing entities that are here. Our small businesses and large businesses that have been part of the very fabric of Ohio and Lake County for decades. AWT is about training employees to fill jobs that we're having trouble filling now. Not necessarily recruiting somebody from someplace else or someone new, supporting what's already here. Helping you fill the needs that you have and expand. Because the surest manufacturing jobs that we have here in Lake County are those that already exist. And protecting those and helping those expand, to me, is my #1 priority. And AWT has been fantastic. Roger, and to the entire board, what you all have done to support existing manufacturing, to identify the needs, qualified employees, and find a way to train folks from here to stay here, to live, to work, to have a family, to become the entrepreneurs and the new businesses. Give yourself a round of applause. You're doing it. It's not us politicians. So thank you for letting us speak and pretend like we take credit. But you guys are the ones who are really doing this, and we appreciate that. Now, the second thing I have to do, now that I've got that off my chest, is to introduce our next speaker, who changed his schedule to be here. He's someone I've known for, trying to make eye contact. How long have we known each other? 30, 40? A long time. We actually, yeah, when I worked like that. Actually, I think we knew each other, we grew up not that far from each other, riding bikes and stuff. So years and years ago, first forays into politics together back in the 1980s and 90s, and has really done a lot for Northeast Ohio. He comes from a family who knows what it means to start and run a business here, who knows what it means to be part of the community. He's been a state senator now for 5 years, 6 years. Was in the House before that, but even when he isn't in office, he's worked to support Northeast Ohio and make sure that we are all rising, because the rising tide doesn't lift all ships. And now he's running for the U.S. Senate, so maybe he can represent us in Washington soon. So it's my honor to get to introduce Matt Dolan.
Thank you, Jamie. Good afternoon, everyone. So I just going to make a couple comments. So in Teresa's good open remarks, she said she wants to make manufacturing a solid option. And I agree with that, but I want to expand that. We have to make it an equal option. Because as kids are faced in 9th grade, 10th grade, where are we going next? How can I make a living? They have to be able to understand that whether it's 4-year, 2-year college, whether it's going into manufacturing, whether it's skilled trades, that all of those are equal and successful options for people to enter the real world. So you guys, again, as everyone said, are setting that up very nicely. And I also like the fact that I'm looking out at multiple private enterprises. And you are coming together to serve a public purpose. And so when private and public work together, and private takes the lead, it usually means good things for our society. So as chairman of the Finance Committee of the Senate, I am looking forward to us doing our public part to be the last hours in for this transformation project that you're working on. Because you took the lead, Roger, and all of you, and as a result, we know that the public will benefit for years to come. So thank you for all your leadership. Allison, thank you. Now, my real responsibility here today is to introduce my colleague. And you guys know businessman Jerry Cirino. And you guys know Commissioner Jerry Cirino. I get the honor and privilege to know Senator Jerry Cirino. And what Jerry brought to the Ohio Senate is what the Ohio Senate desperately needs. That's what government desperately needs. Somebody who has a servant heart, number one. He is there because he wants to serve the public. But we also know that he comes with a wealth of experience in terms of what the private sector needs to flourish. Because we will fail, you've heard from every speaker, we fail as a state if we aren't setting the groundwork and getting the principles necessary for the private sector to work. So when Jerry speaks in the caucus, we listen. Because we know he's been there, he's done that, he knows what you're feeling, he knows the impact positively or negatively you're having. And that's a great resource for all of us when we decide what is the next step for the state of Ohio. Jerry also brings a wealth of experience in terms of life. Jerry didn't come to us at a young age. Jerry is at the tail end of his business career, at the tail end of his service career in Lake County. He still has a lot of years to go, but you can tell when he speaks that he's not looking for the quick fix. He's not looking to say, what's going to get my name in a headline in the News Herald? What's going to help me in my next election? He is laser focused on what's going to help you make Lake County, Northeast Ohio, and all of Ohio more fundamentally sound, more principled, so that your mission and your goals can be met. Because we know when you meet your goals, we all benefit. So it's a thrill to work with him, and I'm excited to hear him speak. But we are so excited that Jerry Cirino decided to join us. So your keynote speaker, State Senator Jerry Cirino.
Great. Well, good afternoon, everybody. And Matt, thank you very much for that very kind introduction. It's great to be here with my colleagues. And I have to say a couple things about Senator Dolan. Since Jamie mentioned briefly that he's running for the Senate, of course, and he will make a great senator. When you think about it, he's the only Senate candidate right now for the U.S. Senate in Ohio who actually has legislative experience, real legislative experience, not just a couple of years here and there and kind of a not so good record. He has been doing this for a long time, has tremendous experience as finance chair in the House and finance chair in the Senate. And I have to say, we also need to take some time to give him our thanks for the work he's done as chairman of the Finance Committee in terms of bringing things to Lake County and our surrounding counties as well, but to Lake County particularly. So whether it's in the general fund budget, which you did last year, or the capital budget, which we're working on right now, many of you have projects that you've submitted. Matt's role as finance chair is critical, and he's been great for Lake County and for Northeastern Ohio, and we very much appreciate that, Matt. Also like my special thanks to my longtime friend, Roger Sustar, and to Teresa for the invitation to be here as well. When Roger asked me to speak at this event, I told him that, I said, Tuesdays we have all of our committee meetings, most of our committee meetings. And I said, I'm not sure, I'll have to really work to see if we can make this happen. And I said, I'm gonna need to be in Columbus most likely, so I'm not sure if this can work out. So Roger said to me then, as only Roger could say, Jerry, just rearrange your schedule, you need to be at our frickin' meeting. And for those of us who know Roger, know that I'm not embellishing. In fact, I may be underreporting, as a matter of fact. So not only was I able to do it, and of course when Roger says he needs you for something, you don't turn him down. And he got Senator Dolan, who's also, like me, missing committee meetings today, in order to be with you, and we know that was the right decision. My wife and I have known Roger and his departed soulmate, Judy, for a long time. She was graceful, and we all know she was Roger's rock. He would not argue with you if you said that she was the better half in that relationship. And kind of anecdotally, she was also the only person in the world who could get Roger to stop talking on command. And for that, we thank Judy. So, it's great to be here with you today, and my dilemma is, as I was preparing for these remarks, is that, you know, what could I possibly say to you today that the previous 8 speakers haven't already said to you? So I will hopefully not be very redundant with some of the points that were made in the videos or from the speakers, but I do have a few thoughts related to the great mission of Alliance working together and what's so important to us here in our local community economy. Of course, I'm quite familiar with AWT. I remember going to some of the initial lunch meetings over at the Yacht Club, right? Wasn't that where you started? You know, it's impressive to see that this organization has such a variety of size and scope of companies. In fact, many of you compete with each other on occasion, and yet you work together, and you're so smart to be working together, even though you might be looking for the same customers and coding on the same jobs. But as Matt mentioned, working together is the best way to solve a problem. Again, you should all be very proud of yourselves for being part of this organization. Let's face it, the last 2 years for manufacturing has been a huge challenge, and it's not over. It's going to continue to be a challenge. As business owners, I think it's safe to say that you can say to yourself that you have managed your businesses through the most challenging circumstances since World War II. Think about it for a second. And some of us, I wasn't alive during World War II. Roger was in diapers. But we were, you know, we certainly, it was not too far away from the years that we were born. So we know a lot about what went on during World War II years in the 40s. In those war years, and your grandparents and parents will tell you about it, we had manpower shortages. We had material rationing, steel, rubber, aluminum, lots of other things that you couldn't get, or you had to get vouchers in order to get, which meant that you had to prove that you needed those and that you were an exception to the rule. We had a shift in the workforce. We had women go to the workforce in droves because a lot of the men were just simply going to one of 2 theaters of battle in the war. We had a total shift in our economic priorities because of the demands of the war. And that was 4 or 5 years of pretty tough situations. I tell my kids about this all the time when they complain about 2 years of COVID and being restricted from this and restricted from that. And I say, listen, this is your World War II moment here. Okay, every generation is going to go through something. We will get through it just as we got through it after World War II when 1945 came around and the Depression before that. You know, every generation will experience something like this, a shift in economic priorities. But we came back those times, and we will come back this time for one simple reason, because we are the greatest nation that has ever existed on the face of this planet. And I say that not because it's a matter of pride or, you know, we're better than everybody else. The facts speak for themselves. In terms of human freedom, economic opportunities, the ability to start a business and take yourself and not be limited by a caste that you might be in, as we see in other countries, or by your family's history. A nobody can become somebody in this country only because of the personal freedoms that we offer. And those are unprecedented. If you look at, you know, the pandemic, in drawing an analogy to World War II, so we have businesses that were closed or restricted severely. We have citizens afraid to go out, hoarding at grocery stores. I remember, like it was yesterday, I think it was April of 2020, going to Heinen's in Benton, right, where I run into many of you. I usually see Ray Paganini there. And, you know, people were filling their carts with staples. And I mean lots of people and lots of carts filled to the brim. Some people with 2 carts. And I just stopped and thought to myself, what in the world is going on here? I've never seen anything quite okay? And eventually that kind of dissipated a bit as people got more comfortable, but people were panicking. We had massive government transfers, as we all saw. In fact, some of these transfers were so absurd, some were necessary, but some were so absurd that we were actually paying people more to stay home than they were making going to work. You know, you don't have to be a Harvard economics major to understand that that is going to create problems down the road, and we are seeing that today. So, while most of you and your companies remained open during the pandemic because you were deemed essential, the problem is that that didn't necessarily translate into your customers feeling that you were essential and that business was going to be as usual. So many of you serve in the supply chain of the airline and aerospace, right? Raise your hand if you're somewhere in that continuum, okay? So many of you, I know for sure, when this started with airline travel, basically shut down for a while. Planes were grounded, airline production basically stopped. Many of you saw reductions in revenue in the matter of a couple of months of 50% or worse. And many of your contracts, or your purchase orders that you had with your customers had been extended. And some of them eventually got canceled or moved out so far that they became irrelevant. So unless you had a very healthy balance sheet, manageable debt that you had to service, and a very flexible workforce, you weren't going to stay in business, and many did not stay in business. Many right here in Lake County. All of you are still in business, and that's because you know how to run your companies and you were prepared for what could have been the worst. So now we're transitioning from pandemic to endemic. I don't think anybody would argue. I'm not a science guy. You know, Roger and I went to the same high school. We both slept through high school science classes mostly. But you know, we do know that today we have transferred to an endemic, okay, which is a good thing. But you're still faced with ongoing supply chain challenges. And now, to make that matter even worse, you can't find the right people to handle the business that you need to generate as a result of customer demand coming back. I've met and talked with manufacturers around the state, as my colleagues have, and many are taking matters into their own hands. Many companies are, certainly, and communities, in coming up with unique ways to attract, retain, and train their workforces. I think this problem has given birth to a new focus on being more creative and to better position the role of manufacturing and trades. I use those sort of interchangeably. If you're working with government and educational institutions at AWT, this is what I love about your organization, is that you are pulling together the right organizations and the right people to solve the problem. So you're working with government, you're working with educational institutions, is to find the right pathway to be able to produce the right kind of people that we need in order for our businesses that are already here to grow and to be able to attract businesses into our area. I think there's a lot of good news at hand. Sort of like maybe being in mid-1944, we started to see things moving in the right direction at the sort of conclusion of both wars. I think there's some good news that we can see. Education for skilled trades appears to be returning to fashion, according to enrollment trends, survey data, and other signals, as reported by the Wall Street Journal recently. High schoolers considering a four-year education has dropped from 71% to 48% since the start of the pandemic. Now, you might read several things into that, but I think one of the things I like to read into that is that we're starting to see, because of other efforts, high schoolers making different kind of choices, and we'll talk about that in a second here. I think the younger generation, and I talk to a lot of them, as do all of you, they're increasingly recognizing that a career in trades offers the opportunity to begin earning much earlier without the accumulation of significant debt, and they can still earn college credit in the process if that is important to them. So why not pursue a career for in-demand jobs where the employers are literally begging you to come and work for them. We haven't seen that too often in the past. There's nothing wrong with college, and you know, in the legislature, we do a lot of things to support our four-year universities and community colleges, and we need people to be going to those. But maybe as parents and as community members, we might have been guilty in the past of automatically presuming kids leaving secondary school needed to go to college, and many of them do, but many of them don't. Okay, I know when I was in college, I had 3 roommates in 3 quarters in my first year. These are people who had no business being there, okay, and lots of them. And so today we need to make sure that we're guiding our students, our high school students, and even earlier to understand what options that they have. In the past 2 years, university and college undergraduate enrollment has dropped 8%. And our university presidents, and I'm on the Senate Higher Education Committee, I spent a lot of time talking with all of our community college presidents around the state and virtually all of the university presidents. And they are all, except perhaps Ohio State, because it's so difficult to get in there. Everyone is predicting a lower student population for the foreseeable future, and I mean 10 years out. Okay, and because of that, they're having to re-examine their footprints, their programs, you know, how much they're spending for new facilities and that sort of thing. And again, I think those students who are not going, you know, to four-year universities need to have other options, and we need to help provide those options too. The government can play a great role in that. Again, we don't create jobs, and we don't, you know, we help facilitate. That's our task, you know, as elected officials. But I can tell you that in the legislature and in the administration, at the governor's office, economic development is a major focus. Senate and House committees we've changed names. You know, in the Senate we have it's the Higher Education and Workforce Development Committee. In the House, I think they call it the Higher Education and Career Readiness Committee. And so there's a lot of bills. I was watching some on live feed today that are really focusing on how we can help facilitate through some budget appropriations, but also programs to support these other educational options here. Enhanced career counseling, and this is an area that I have just been amazed with. I found out when I first got to the Senate, I was meeting with some people from the guidance counselor organization in the state, and I asked them what I thought was a simple question, and I thought the answer was going to be very different from the one I got. What is the ratio of guidance counselor to student in the state of Ohio in high schools? How did you know? Okay. It's 1 to 450. Okay, now that's the average in the state. Some schools are going to do much better. And if you look inside that number, you see that, you know, that guidance counselor is also doing other things. Usually has other duties that they have to perform, not just guiding the careers of their students. And you know, we can't fix that and change that proportionality in a meaningful way overnight. Obviously, that needs to get approved. One of the bills I have that just got through House Committee today, Senate Bill 135, is looking to address that and require greater counseling on both financial as well as career options for families and for students. But you know, if you think about it for a second, a high school guidance counselor who's dealing with that kind of or similar ratio, how much time are they going to have to understand what a career in CNC operations might be, right? No, I mean, when I was in high school, when Roger and I were in high school, in Kenny, we had college catalogs were across the walls in our guidance counselor's office. Their job was to tell us help us figure out which college to go to. Okay, and that was then. But now we need to make sure that counselors are schooled in what other career options there are, so that like many programs I've seen in my district, I know Mentor is doing this, Roosevelt High School in Kent, Crestwood in Ravenna, and many others in the compacts that we have around the state are starting to really take matter into their own hands and put together programs so that students are exposed to, not just theoretically, but they're literally exposed to other career options other than going to a four-year school. We have got to encourage that. We have got to support that financially. And we as parents have to insist, parents and grandparents, that we insist that our school systems provide those kinds of options, because our kids and grandkids can make better decisions and not find themselves halfway through Kent State in a program they're not excited about with $40,000 of debt that they have to take with them. So again, I think these are reasons to be optimistic. With Tech Cred, there's opportunities for upskilling, and in Senate Bill 166, which allows employers a 15% tax credit when they employ a student from one of Ohio's certified training programs. Auburn and Maplewood would be two examples of benefactors of that. So I want to just talk a minute about Senate Bill 135, because not just because it was my bill that we passed in the Senate in 3 months last year. We passed it with all but 2 votes in the Senate, and it was bipartisan. It's one of the most comprehensive higher education and workforce bills that we passed in Ohio in a very, very long time. And some of the items that we passed, we put into the budget last year with Senator Dolan's help, because we wanted them to get operating as quickly as we possibly can. And two of those components were the Second Chance Voucher Program, which allows a grant to be given of $2,000 to a student who is what we call stopped out, basically dropped out of a college program, okay, university or community college program. If they stopped out for 2 semesters, they can apply for this grant of $2,000 to help them get engaged in some other kind of program, so that they're not just going home, living with their parents and doing text messaging in the basement. Okay, we want them to get into some kind of career program, and this will help them do that. We passed it as a pilot in the budget, and it's in the bill that just went through the House committee today, so it'll be a permanent program for us to have in the legislature. The other part of it was that, I know we're here to talk about manufacturing, but we have a massive nursing shortage in the state, actually in the whole country. And so one of the changes that we had in this bill that was put into the budget, so it's been law since the budget was accepted in House Bill 110, that community colleges are now empowered to offer Bachelor of Science in nursing degrees. Okay, when you think about it for a second, we have this massive shortage of nurses. COVID, we had it before COVID. It's been exacerbated by COVID. And now what we have is opportunities for more nurses to come into the programs closer to home. They don't have to go to Kent State or Ohio State. And they can do it at about half the cost. And that's a creative way of us working with our healthcare providers who are ecstatic about this, and our community colleges to put this together in a manner that is going to actually solve a problem that we have currently in the state of Ohio. We're also going to be, as I mentioned earlier, going to be requiring secondary schools to provide better counseling in terms of careers and financial implications of career choices. Some of it very much like what Florida passed recently in terms of transparency of career outcomes and costs for universities. So a lot of good stuff I think that we're doing in the government to help with the challenges that you are facing as business operators. But we can't be successful in attracting new companies to Ohio and helping all of you survive and expand unless we've got the right people in place, and this is a priority for us here. Jobs Ohio is doing a great job. They've been for a long time. Ohio ranked #2 in the nation for total projects for the 2nd year in a row. Ohio is also ranked #4 in projects per capita. And this is very exciting. Ohio is poised to lead the electric vehicle automotive supply chain, and that will mean some opportunities for many of you in this room. So all of that economic development aside, and then of course there's Intel, which you've heard a lot about, and Lieutenant Governor Husted talked about that as well. It is the biggest economic development project in the state of Ohio's history. And of course, as we've heard many, many times already, that it will be the largest semiconductor manufacturing site on the planet, right here in Ohio. I don't know if you've thought much about that. I don't know if you understand some of the implications to that, but this is huge for Ohio. Average salary at Intel, by the way, is $135,000. So they're not bringing in, clerks. They're bringing in people that are going to be making good incomes and paying good taxes for the state of Ohio, so that we can do things to support the needs of our residents. And of course, you have to think about the next phase, because Intel has 3 phases that they're going to be doing. This is just the first phase. Related to that, as we all know, are the jobs that will be created by the suppliers who are supplying Intel, right? And it's difficult to quantify all of that, but there are going to be companies who are going to find it beneficial logistically to locate in Ohio in order to service the needs of Intel. And we think that could be anywhere in the state. Northeastern Ohio, I like to think that we will be beneficiaries of some of that expansion, as well as opportunities for all of you existing companies here to provide products and services to Intel and Intel's suppliers as they locate here. So I really think that Ohio has set the table for what I'm excited about is a manufacturing resurgence. It's post-COVID manufacturing resurgence. If businesses, government, and educators work together, as I know they are, our state will truly be a beacon of economic development. For manufacturing and trade jobs, we need to change the narrative as well, so that parents, students, and educators alike understand that these are not necessarily greasy, grimy jobs of manufacturing that so many people unfortunately think about. That these are high-paying jobs, they're in high technology, and they are very stable because they are such in demand right now. So high-paying jobs, high technology, stability, good living, these are jobs that we should be pointing our young people to and making sure that their needs are being met and your needs as manufacturers hiring them would be met as well. I think, for the last couple of years, you all have lived in what I would call business hell. And it's probably not over. We have supply chain issues that are going to dog us for a while. Some that were related to COVID, and some that were the result of bad policy. But we have to get through those. I think here in Ohio, we have a reason to be optimistic. Student interest in manufacturing and trades is on the rise, and I think these jobs will be here for a very long time. Please continue working together and supporting each other. Sign up for the AWT training program if you haven't already. I can tell you and speak for all of my colleagues in the legislature that we are looking out for your best interest, and we are here to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Senator Cirino. I'd like to welcome up Lakeland Construction Group. Fahim is going to give us an update on the status of our Transformation Training Center.
Wow, how can I follow up, Jim? It's going to be tough. Good to see you all. Some of you familiar faces, some of you. I'm Fahim with the Lakeland Construction Group. We designed and building the dream of Roger and Judy Training Center. Now it's going to be named after Roger and Judy Sustar Training Center. So get used to this name. It's a brand new name in the community. Yeah, it's a great place. I think it's too small. I shouldn't leave the site in June when it's going to get completed without putting that addition. So Roger, the big bucks over there plus the senator, get some money here. So in 2 years it's going to be more money. So better do it now. With all the great things coming in the state of Ohio, things is going to get in demand. And also get ready for the grand opening in June. I think we're going to turn it over. So you're going to see a lot of good things coming up in the fall. start buying furniture, believe it or not. So that's on the street, so we better hurry up. We are, I would say 70%, 65%, 70%, 90% on the outside, 70% on the inside. We're doing the HVAC, the sprinkler system. We're changing designs as we go. Especially Roger come back now from Florida, he's just already moving walls. So we're really excited, we're very proud, and we're very pleased to be part of that team. Looking to be partner of your next project. Some of those manufacturers are here. I'm plugging myself now. We're ready for you to help you on your next project. As I was walking here, I had a choke. We just got named, Lakeland and its team, Frank, our architect, by the General Contractor magazine, which is a national magazine, and Roger, you should be proud. Best Industrial Architect in Cleveland. Frank. Just today. So I'm proud of my team, I'm proud of my architect, I'm proud of the people I associate myself with to be the top leader in that category. It is hard, you know, as a father of and two young boys, as Jerry mentioned, the future, and Senator McDonald as well as others. Where's the future of our kids, and where is the future of manufacturing? Where is the future of tomorrow? And of course, we don't want them to leave the state. We don't want them to leave, you know, go to California and go to New York and go to this or go to that. And everybody, all these young kids today, that they believe in education. We want them back. We want them back. We want them back to be here, to be, you know, where they can be beneficial to our society, and also for our commissioners. And he knows that, you know, he started my speech that to use local, to stay with local, stay local, you know, use local. We work here, we live here, we educate our kids here. We should spend our money together. We should stay local. We should focus on ourselves. Why should we get a company from Texas to build your building where they're doing in the truck and living in a hotel, and they come with two guys and they leave? Senator Cirino heard me say that. I fight for that. I believe in it. I believe in local. I believe in supporting each other. Whatever the industry, we all need each other. We all need each other, one way or another. From a cleaning, supply company, from whatever, we all need each other. So think local, keep the kids here to be back and bring that talent back to local, and just call me for your next project. And I thank you, Roger. You're doing a great job. She's doing a great job after the guys. We really is.
Thank you. Thank you, Fahim. We look forward to inviting everyone into the training center. There will be information coming out in the next couple months about when that exact date will be. So we'll see. I don't know if it's June or if it's July, or Roger says September sometimes. So. Just to finish up, the AWT Workforce Transformation Center is really going to be the hub for training and workforce development in Northeast Ohio. And we're very proud of that through collaboration and support that started with a conversation 20 years ago. The education and development that's going to go on in that building will set us up to really bolster our economy and the future for our kids in the next generation. I want to thank our event sponsors, Lakeland Construction Group, and if you hadn't already picked up a little goodie bag, they have them in the back, and for Mentor Public Schools for letting us use the Paradigm. And it's been such a nice facility to use, but I'm also excited about inviting you to our own next time. J&J's for a wonderful meal. Thank you to our speakers for their messages and for everybody for their attention today. I really think that we're making a difference for the next generation, and I feel very grateful to be here as the executive director. So thank you so much and have a wonderful afternoon.